The Odyssey, the legendary journey of Odysseus. Imagine surviving one of the greatest wars in human history. For 10 long years, kingdoms fought, heroes fell, and the city of Troy stood at the center of one of history's most legendary conflicts. When the war finally came to an end, every Greek warrior dreamed of one thing: going home. Among them was Odysseus, the clever king of Ithaca, a man known not for his strength, but for his intelligence. He believed his greatest challenge was over. He was wrong. His real journey was only about to begin. The Greeks defeated Troy using one of the most famous military strategies ever imagined: the wooden horse. Hidden inside the enormous wooden structure, Greek soldiers waited silently as the people of Troy celebrated what they believed was victory. That night, the city fell. As Troy burned behind him, Odysseus gathered his men and prepared to sail home across the Mediterranean Sea. He expected the journey to take only weeks. Instead, it would take 10 years. The first island they reached appeared peaceful. Its people welcomed the exhausted sailors with kindness. They offered them a strange fruit known as the lotus. Anyone who tasted it immediately forgot everything: their families, their homeland, even their desire to return home. Several of Odysseus's men refused to leave. They wanted to stay forever. Realizing the danger, Odysseus dragged them back to the ships by force. He knew that sometimes the greatest enemy isn't a monster. Sometimes it's forgetting who you are. Days later, the fleet reached another island. There, they discovered an enormous cave filled with sheep, cheese, and food. Believing it belonged to no one, they entered. But the cave belonged to Polyphemus, a terrifying cyclops, a giant with incredible strength and only one eye. When he returned, he sealed the entrance with an enormous boulder. The sailors were trapped. Then something unimaginable happened. The cyclops began eating them, one after another. Odysseus knew that fighting such a creature would mean certain death. Instead, he created a plan. He offered the giant strong wine. When the cyclops became drunk and asked for his name, Odysseus replied, "My name is Nobody." That night, the sailors sharpened a wooden stake. As the giant slept, they drove it into his single eye. Blinded and screaming, the cyclops cried for help. The other giants rushed outside. They shouted, "Who is attacking you?" Polyphemus answered, "Nobody." Hearing this, they believed he was safe and walked away. The next morning, Odysseus and his men escaped by hiding beneath the giant's sheep. It was one of the greatest escapes in mythology. But Odysseus made one terrible mistake. As his ship sailed away, his pride overcame his wisdom. He shouted his real name back at the Cyclops. Polyphemus raised his hands toward the sky. He prayed to his father, Poseidon, the mighty god of the sea. From that moment on, the ocean itself became Odysseus's enemy. Violent storms shattered his ships. Towering waves pushed him farther from home. Every time he believed Ithaca was close, another disaster appeared. It seemed as though the sea would never allow him to return. Eventually, Odysseus arrived on the mysterious island of Circe. She welcomed the exhausted sailors with food and drink, but her kindness was only an illusion. With powerful magic, she transformed his men into pigs. Fortunately, the messenger god Hermes secretly appeared before Odysseus. He gave him a magical herb that protected him from Circe's spells. When Circe realized her magic had failed, she respected his courage. Instead of becoming his enemy, she became his ally. Before Odysseus departed, she offered him a warning. Greater dangers were still waiting across the sea. The next challenge came from the Sirens, creatures whose beautiful songs lured sailors to their deaths. Anyone who listened to their voices would steer directly toward the rocks. Odysseus wanted to hear their legendary song without dying. So he ordered every sailor to fill their ears with beeswax. Then, he ordered his crew to tie him tightly to the ship's mast. As the sirens sang, he begged to be released. He screamed. He struggled. But his crew ignored every word. Only after the island disappeared behind them did they untie him. The sea offered no mercy. Ahead waited two unimaginable horrors. On one side, Scylla, a six-headed sea monster hiding among towering cliffs. On the other, Charybdis, a gigantic whirlpool capable of swallowing entire ships. Avoiding one meant sailing dangerously close to the other. Odysseus chose the lesser evil. He sailed near Scylla. The monster attacked instantly. Several brave sailors were taken, but the ship survived. Sometimes, leadership means making impossible choices. After years of storms, battles, loss, and endless wandering, Odysseus finally reached Ithaca. But home had changed. Everyone believed he was dead. Powerful nobles had taken over his palace. They competed for the hand of his faithful wife, Penelope. Disguised as an old beggar, Odysseus quietly entered his own kingdom. No one recognized him. He waited patiently. Then, when the perfect moment arrived, he revealed his true identity. A final battle erupted inside the palace. One by one, the invaders fell. The king had returned. For nearly 3,000 years, the Odyssey has remained one of humanity's greatest stories. A tale of courage, intelligence, sacrifice, and hope. Whether every event truly happened, or whether the story grew into legend over time, its message still survives. Sometimes, the longest journey is the one that leads us home. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more ancient legends, forgotten civilizations, and the greatest mysteries from history.